Hey guys, this is Shannon with Nearly Organic Noshing, and today I'm going to talk about practical homesteading preparedness in general. Right now, we are waiting for a hurricane, and literally that we are waiting for a hurricane. Anybody that has been through hurricanes know. I saw a little meme on Facebook that says waiting for a hurricane is like being stalked by a turtle, and that is so true. I think of all of the natural disasters, I think hurricanes are the easiest to prepare for because you literally have so much time to prepare for them. You can't really prepare for things like earthquakes or tornadoes in the same way as you can a hurricane. You have lots of time to prepare, but people go into absolute panic mode as soon as they hear a hurricane is coming their way. And there are so many practical approaches to preparing that you can take that no one thinks of or no one considers. I think that when you are a homesteader and you're rural, especially, it is easier to prepare. I know that a lot of the things that I'm going to show you are not practical if you're living in a city, in apartment living. It's just not going to work in the same way. And you may have to abandon ship and go someplace else that is more suited to your needs. There's been lots of accidents today. The fire trucks and ambulances and cop cars are just going because I think people are kind of being crazy out there on the road. I drove up a few minutes ago to fill up our last vehicle gas tank, and every pump around except for one business that is a locally owned business that he was thinking ahead, he'd already lined up for extra trucks to come. Everybody else was out of gas. Not him. He still has gas. And not only that, but he lowered his price. That is a hometown man right there that understands about preparedness. So I'm going to walk around and just point out a few things here on our property. We're spending the next 2 days literally clearing things. It's been on our to-do list for a while to do in the winter when it got cooler, because right now it's 95 degrees, not exactly the time that we want to be doing major yard work. You can hear my son over there. I don't know, he's messing with something under the cover. I think he's working on a weed eater or something. But we have a lot of work to do here on the property just for cleanup, to get rid of any projectiles, anything that's going to go flying around. We need to do it anyway, but we had planned to do it during the winter months when it was cooler. But I'm just going to walk around and show you some very practical items that you can use to prepare for a hurricane. You don't have to go out and spend a ton of money and buy a ton of things if you think ahead and prepare ahead of time. Okay, so let's first talk about water. As soon as someone says on the news a hurricane is coming, people go ballistic over getting water. They are absolutely crazy. Jaden and I went to Walmart last night at 2 a.m. because we were not going to deal with the crazies that were in the store. Did we actually need anything to prepare for the hurricane? Nope. We had everything here in the house we could possibly need to probably last us about 3 months, but we may end up with extra people in our house, so we were picking up extra stuff, convenient stuff, just to make everybody's life a little easier and to help out our neighbors. So when we were walking up and down the aisles, bread and water, there was nothing, literally not anything there in the stores because people went crazy for it. Well, you can set aside your own water supply if you are sheltering in place. So this is some water from our last camping trip that we just had left over. We have it sitting here. We'll use it later, but gallons of water, yes, always great to have. Another thing you can do is fill your washer up with water. Your washer holds a heck of a lot of water. And if you're going to need it to flush toilets, your washer is a great place to hold water. Your empty laundry containers, also your detergent, your fabric softener, great for flushing toilets, taking baths, that kind of thing. I would not want to drink it because I don't know how much you clean it if you can get all the residue out, but there's nothing wrong with keeping a dozen or so of these giant ones with the little pump on the front. Great for a hand washing station, cleaning up, or just having water to wash up, clean up, wash dishes, flush toilets, that kind of thing. Another item you can use that will hold a ton of water are trash cans. And full trash cans are much harder to blow away than empty trash cans. So line them up next to your house, someplace that there is a good wind block, and fill those suckers all the way up with water. And then you can use that again to flush toilets. And I wouldn't want to wash up with them unless it was a clean, very clean, brand new trash can, but it's great for flushing toilets and holds a ton of water. Coolers are another item that you can bleach out, you can scrub out, and you can put water in there, or you can put ice in there, and as the ice melts or you use it up, you can have water. This is something that you can use as drinking water, washing water, whatever. If you have extra coolers, fill them up, stack them up, and you'll have plenty of water in coolers. We have a pump on our property, so even if we are without power, we have generators that will run our entire property, all of our refrigerators, AC, everything. So we are set when it comes to the hurricane with keeping our water supply going, but we have this big tank right here that even if we had to conserve water and just fill that up, I believe that is a 500-gallon tank, I want to say. We fill that sucker up and slowly use it down. We can either dip it out or we can throw a handheld pump in there, pump it out. Another great thing to hold water are stock tanks. Fill up a couple of stock tanks if you have them on your property. I'll flip this right side up, put it under the edge of the awning, and let nature fill it up for me, and it's most likely not going to blow away. Another thing, kiddie pools. I'll put this out in my chicken run. It'll be absolutely full of water, so I don't have to run the pumps more than I need to with a couple of these kiddie pools filled up. They're low to the ground, not likely to blow away when they are full of water. This is the dog's little swimming pool, but it is empty right now. They just had dumped it in preparation for the storm, because we're going to be putting all of this stuff away. And one more item you can always pick up are storage tanks of some sort. These are IBC totes. I think each of these are 375 gallons. I believe this one, these two blue ones. And then I have more out in the garden, but you can get the 50-gallon drums that are plastic for like $15. Have a couple on your property if you have room to store them, and then when you need to, fill them up with water, put a little bleach in there or a chlorine tab, and you are good to go, and you will have hundreds of gallons of water stored in one place, nice and simple, without all the fuss of having to run to the store and get tons and tons of gallon containers of water. If you have a Berkey, even better, because then you can take the water right out of wherever you're storing it, run it through your Berkey, and you have safe drinking water. You can always boil it and then run it through a regular, just a store-bought filter after you boil it, and have good water that way also. Okay guys, what you are looking at here are our generators. One is a PTO driven, and it hooks up to our diesel tractor, so it requires diesel fuel to run it. Quite often during a hurricane, diesel is much more readily accessible than gas because less people use diesel, so then we use that. This one is our big gas generator. Now both of these generators run our entire house, our office, our AC, all of our refrigerators, washer, pumps, you name it. They're big enough to run the entire house. I know that most people cannot afford or have room to have something like this, so I know we're a special case that this is something that Chris wanted. We needed to be able to have our house running, our business running, and help out our neighbors whenever possible. So having something like this is extremely beneficial, and you need to keep up the service on them and test them often. Every few months he comes out here and tests them, and literally with the flip of a switch he can have the whole house up and going. Once the power goes out, within less than 5 minutes he'll have it started, hooked up, and running the whole house. So if you don't have something like this, you might have something like a small suitcase generator, or a little small one that you get from Home Depot or Lowe's or Tractor Supply, something like that. It's always good to have an alternate power source if at all possible. If not, and you're just going to be off the grid, then don't plan on keeping like your refrigerators going for very long, or pumps, and you would need a more long-term storage solution for water and things like that. But for us, this is what works. We keep our house running. Last time I was able to wash laundry for lots of neighbors that did not have power, or that their generators weren't enough to keep everything going in their house. They could bring it to me. We could fill up their water containers. We could wash their clothes and all that. So this is just a great option. Okay, so now you have your generators that are going to run your house, whether it's a little small one that is just going to keep your refrigerator going and maybe a fan and a couple of lights, or one that's going to run your whole house. You have to have fuel to keep them going. So gas cans can get expensive. I mean, each of these gas cans can be $15, $20 depending on the gas can and the size. So yes, you need gas cans, but you can think outside the box and think of other places to store fuel, because all you need is a storage tank that's not going to blow away easily. So look at other options that you have around your house or property, like a riding lawnmower. Fill it up. You may not be mowing for the next, month or so. You're going to have limbs down everywhere, but you can siphon gas out of your mower. Do you have a four-wheeler or a side-by-side? Fill it up. It holds gas. Having a side-by-side, if there are a bunch of trees down between here and my parents' house, or between here and Chris's parents' house, that vehicles cannot easily get, this will. So this sucker is full of gas, and if we need to get somewhere, we can. Vehicles. Every single vehicle you have should be full of gas. If a hurricane is coming, top them off. If you have to take them one at a time up to the gas station or fill up tanks, bring them back, fill your vehicle up, whichever way works best, but fill them up. If you have an old broken down vehicle on your property, but the gas tank is still good on it, take some tanks, fill it up. It's a holding tank. Same goes for boats. Are we going to be going out boating? Nope. But this has over 100-gallon tank on it. So it is full to the brim, and we can siphon gas out of it if we need. So this isn't going anywhere. It's not going to easily get blown away, and it'll be right here. Even if a tree were to fall on it, we'll still should be able to get to the gas tank to siphon gas out of it. Living where we do, we are 35 miles or so inland. So we're not worried about flooding here. We're very high and dry. The other thing we have to worry about here is trees falling. So we have massive, massive oak trees and magnolia trees. I mean, this sucker is huge, and you can see above our house just how big these oak trees are. And we have trees surrounding our property. Now, about where these trailers are is where all of our vehicles that we drive will be parked. Because if you look, any of these trees fall, none of them are big enough to crush a vehicle parked in the middle of the field. Now, a tornado could come and carry it away, sure. But if a tree falls, unless something becomes a projectile, our vehicles are going to be safe in the middle of the property, away from falling limbs and debris, and we'll be able to easily get our vehicles out and out of the property. So think about where you park your vehicles. Don't park them under a tree. You don't need shade. You need them far away from things that can land on them and destroy them. The other thing is projectiles. This is our burn pile right back here by the garden. The stuff that's in the garden, all the IBC totes, not much I can do with them. I'm going to flip them so that they'll hold water. As much as I hate to do that, I'm going to flip them so that they hold water, so that when the rains start, they'll fill them up with water, and we'll have extra water if we need it, but essentially it's going to hold them down. But we're going to burn this pile back here and any other yard debris that we can gather up together. That could be limbs, that could be projectiles. They're going to get burned, along with everything under our covers are going to be either tied down or burned or put away. So that is on the agenda. If you have storage sheds like this holds all of our parts for our business, and this holds all of my holiday decorations, and we have a couple of other little storage buildings here and there. I usually park my car under here, but for the storm it'll be parked out in the middle and it'll be empty under here. But last hurricane, this was not strapped down very well. It ended up in the neighbor's yard and most of the items inside it were destroyed. So this time Chris has these like 4-foot tall metal tie downs that screw into the ground, and it is going to be ratcheted down to the ground. This one's already secured down. We did the same thing at our camper at our off-grid property. There are 4 straps on each side of our camper tying it down. If it's 150-mile-an-hour wind, it's not going to matter. It'll probably blow it over. But we've done everything we can to tie it down. So my chicken coop, he went and bought extra straps for that and straps for this. So everything is going to be strapped down, tied down into the ground as much as possible. Okay, let's talk cooking. So if you are without power or you have limited power, you need to come up with other sources of cooking. What you're looking at right here is one of our wood piles. What is all at the back is all pecan. All of this up here is just pine that we use for campfires and stuff like that. We have a ton of oak on the back of the property. So this is definitely something you can use for cooking. You can just have a little fire, put a little grate over it, put a little tripod over it, and hang a metal pot. However you want to cook outside, you can do, as long as you have good dry wood. Now, I have quite a bit of wood in a sealed plastic container, like one of those giant Rubbermaid ones that has, I don't know, 1/4 of a cord in it. So it is going to stay dry, and then you can start a fire with that dry wood, get it going, add in a little wet wood, and you're good to go. But having plenty of seasoned wood is good for cooking. You know, you need something like that if you're going to be using an open fire to cook with. So that is one method that you can use. So we have a couple of smokers. There's one right over here, and there's one here that we have up near our house that we use for different things. So you can use a smoker. You don't have to use your smoker to smoke meat. You can put some wood in there and use it as a regular grill. You can use a burn barrel as a place to cook. Throw your wood in there, put a metal grate over the top, and you have a cooking surface. Okay, these bricks right here, Chris and I were just playing around one day with a rocket stove, making a rocket stove. That's another option, to use a very small amount of wood to build yourself a rocket stove. This is a gas grill right here. And then this is Chris's latest thing that he just bought, which he's getting ready to concrete into the ground. This is one of those stoves like you see at campgrounds that are cast iron, super, super, super heavy. This thing weighs a ton, but we're going to use it most likely for charcoal. We have tons of charcoal, and if the power is out and we don't want to turn on ovens and things like that and waste electricity, then we're going to use this as a charcoal grill. Now, you don't have to have something like this as a charcoal grill. You can have a metal pan with a metal grate over the top of some sort, or even aluminum sitting on top of the coals, and cook like that. You don't have to get expensive. You can get super, super simple. Here's another option for campfire cooking. It's just, we just have our stones out here in a circle, and you can put a grate over the top of this, a big metal grate, or you could use skewers and hang meat over it, whatever you wanted to do. We're actually going to take this right here, which is a tractor tire ring, and put it inside and build the bricks up around it just to give it a little more structure, and it'll hold the heat really well. So that's just sitting off to the side, but you could use something like that also. Having the ability to store large amounts of propane is definitely a plus. This is our large tank that we have, and we can siphon off this one if we need it. Mainly, we just use it for our gas fireplace in the house in the winter time. Like if our electricity was out and we didn't want to turn on the generators right away, then we could have heat from that. But in the summer, and we could siphon off of it if we needed to fill up our little portable tanks for cooking with gas. So these are the small tanks we have that we can use to refill off the big one, and then we even have the smaller camp tanks that we can use to fill off of these if we want to use a camp stove to cook. Another thing you need to consider is where you're going to go to the restroom. If you're not able to flush your toilets, then a chemical toilet, and excuse how messy, dirty this is, it has gotten left outside and rained on about, 15 times. So the leaves and stuff have been falling on it. But a chemical toilet is a great option. You can just put some of the blue chemical in it, fill it up with water ahead of time, and have a toilet in the house that you don't have to go outside. Another option is a composting toilet, and all you need is a 5-gallon bucket, a trash bag, some shavings, and either a toilet seat or a pool noodle. And you can have a composting toilet. You can get the wood shavings from Walmart, a pet supply store. You could even use sand, you could use kitty litter, whatever. But a 5-gallon bucket is cheap, easy, put it together, and your kids will be eternally grateful to have a place to go potty in the house if you need to, if you're not able to use your own bathroom in the house. Okay guys, let's talk about your food storage. Now, like I said, I mentioned earlier that Jade and we went to Walmart at like 2 a.m. To go pick up supplies. It was more convenient stuff and extra stuff. Think about if you were not to be able to go to the store for a month or two, whether it's because it's not available or you just don't want to battle the stores or you don't want to have to drive to a store, what are you going to need? Well, I needed extra dog food and chicken feed. Picked that up. Then we picked up convenience items. I picked up extra toilet paper, paper towels. If I can see shelf up here, then I want to fill it up. So we picked up extra toilet paper, paper towels. I have all kinds of extra paper goods, aluminum pans, all kinds of paper plates and plasticware and cups and aluminum foil and everything that we just keep extra because that's what we do. I don't want to run out. I don't want to have to try and figure out last second. But if you're not a prepper, if you're not a homesteader, then think about the things that you use on a regular basis that are going to make your life easier, and those are the things to pick up from the store. Having extra trash bags, Ziploc bags, things like that are a must. Cleaning supplies and paper plates. If you are going to have to conserve water, then you can have paper plates and then burn those paper plates in, your trash whenever you're making a fire to cook. So think ahead like that on how you can conserve if you need to. Like I said, thankfully, we're in a good position here that we don't have to do that. We have good generators. We don't have to really conserve power too much because we have planned ahead. Now, look around what you have in your house. Those are water containers right there. Those are water storage containers. And again, I'm sorry, my pantry is like beyond messy. I did not plan on doing this video today, or I would have straightened it up and it would have looked better, but I really don't have time to do that. These containers right here, these plastic containers, those are water storage containers. All of these right here, 5-gallon buckets, those are all water storage containers if you need them to be. So, in your kitchen, line them up. Get your big mason jars. Get your big jars that you use for party. There's 3 of them. I have 5 gallons. No, I have like 6 gallons right there in those containers that I could put water or drink or whatever that I needed to drink, cook with, bathe with, whatever you need. If you have extra mason jars, fill them up. All of these are extra. You could fill them up with water and just put them on your shelf. All of those up there, empty jars. You could have tons of mason jars of drinking water. Yeah, not the most practical because it's small amounts, but if you're going to drink or cook with them, no problem. The other thing I do is I buy in bulk. So if Jaden and I did not go to the store and I did not buy a single loaf of bread, I could make bread. I have everything here. I have 5-gallon buckets of white flour, brown flour, almond flour. I have gallon containers of sugar, oatmeal, grits, brown sugar, rice. We have about 3 months between our fridges and freezers and in here of meals where we would not have to go to the store. Would everyone love what I was cooking? No, probably not. They probably wouldn't like it all that much. Not all of it. Some of it they'd love. Jaden would be all about the beans and rice, but Chris would hate all the soups. It's just what people like. But would we still be alive 3 months from now? Yeah. Would we probably be a little skinnier? Probably, but we'd all be alive, we'd all be healthy, we'd all be fine. We just, would be really craving a cheeseburger or something. So, but, you just have to be forward thinking. We have powdered milk. We have almond milk, we have jams, we have jellies. You would just have to get creative. Think about the things that you use every single day and have enough of it stored up at least for a few weeks. If you couldn't get to the grocery store for a few weeks, or you had to evacuate, or you had to stay somewhere else, what can you take with you? What is easy? What can you use? So that is what my pantry is. My pantry is just an extension of my daily cooking. What can I do? What can I make? When Chris asked me, what do you need to get from the store? I could honestly tell him nothing. I don't need anything from the store. We're fine right now. We have everything we need. And that is a really, really good feeling to have. Did we still go buy stuff? Yep, I went and bought lots of extra dog food, chicken feed, some chips, some cookies, just some convenient stuff to make everybody happy if we end up with a house full of company. So we're not digging into our stores too much to help out other people. So this is just, just the pantry, and cleaning supplies are the other thing. Make sure you have plenty of cleaning supplies, because you will be surprised how much you need to clean up after a hurricane, and having good cleaning supplies is a must. Okay, now, if you are in the South especially, let's talk staying cool. Having a window unit is great. If you do not have a generator that is powerful enough to run your whole entire house, cool one room in your house. A 5,000 BTU AC, it's not going to cool a huge space. It'll cool a small space, but it's nice to have. Add that with a couple of fans and you'll be good to go. This one, I believe, is like an 18,000 or I think it's a 12,000. And this is an extra one we have in our bedroom. When we have big parties and stuff here, we have a small house, but our AC struggles to keep up because it is an old house. This was built in the 1930s. Insulation isn't great. So we crank this sucker up and cool this part of the house with this AC just pointed out the bedroom. But having a window unit that you can put in your general main area of your house, and if everybody needs to drag their beds in there and all crash and sleep in the living room, then so be it. One room will be cool in the house, and that's enough. So if you're able to get a window unit, put it in at your house. Even if you live in an apartment and you have to put your generator out on your deck or out on your patio and run an extension cord in somewhere into your apartment and cool off your apartment, okay. But having a window unit and a couple of fans, definite must if you're in the South, because it gets hot after a hurricane goes through. So just an extra little bonus to make your life better and to make sleeping, especially at night, a little bit easier. Okay guys, sorry, hot mess here. It is in the high 90s outside with 100% humidity. So having something like what I just discussed, having an AC that you could cool off one room in your house, is definitely not a must, but definitely an awesome thing if you're able to do it. Hang some blankets over doorways, hang some blankets over windows, keep that summer heat out, especially if you're in Florida, you're in the South, it's hot, it's miserable. It's nice to come in if you're doing yard cleanup, debris cleanup, having to dig half your house out from under a tree, to be able to come in and cool off, because it's important to be able to cool off in the heat in the summertime. So definitely a plus there. Now, print out some of those sheets that are on Pinterest. Go down the checklist. Maybe it's just a great reminder to have one of those sheets. Do I have everything on the list? Do I have batteries? Batteries are a good thing to have. Having portable chargers, those little charging stations that you can have for your phone, those little portable chargers. Having car chargers, you could go out and use your car charger to charge up your phone. A jump box is another awesome thing to have. Charge it up ahead of time. You can use it to blow up air mattresses in your house. You can use it to charge your phones. You can use it to run fans off if you need to in the house and you don't have power. I would most definitely suggest you go out and buy a jump box. They're under $50 and you can use them for so many things. You can jump off your car, air up a tire, have a light on so that you can see what's going on inside. You can use them for just so many things. So a jump box is one thing I would definitely suggest as an extra thing to have, along with backup chargers for your phone if electricity is going to be an iffy thing, or if you're going to have it off for a few hours at a time. Put extra gallon containers of water in your freezer. If you're going to have to be doing the run for an hour, off for 2 hours deal with your generator because you're conserving electricity and you don't have one to run everything 24/7, then putting extra jugs, you want to take up all that extra space in your freezer with ice, and it'll hold it. Don't turn your freezer down as cold as possible. It'll mess up your appliance. We have appliance repair company. Trust us on this. Also, don't store your important documents in your dishwasher. I actually saw that online the other day. It's not watertight. It's not airtight. If your house floods, it's ruined. It's gone. Don't store in your dishwasher. It would be better to put it in one of those bags that you suck all the air out, put it on a high shelf somewhere, much more likely to be safe there than in your dishwasher. So I'm trying to think if there are any extra suggestions that I can give you just for practical. Make copies of everything that you think is important. Put a bug out bag in the trunk of your car or your back of your truck ahead of time so that you're not having to gather everything together to take it out. If you think that you're going to have to evacuate, pack your car ahead of time. You can always unpack and put everything away. It's just a little extra work, Don't try and do it last second. Don't try and pack anything last second. And think of your animals. What are you going to do with your animals? One of the things we're doing is we have to ratchet down the coop. Chris made that coop really, really, really strong, but it's not going to survive 150-mile-an-hour winds. Might lift it up and carry it off with all my chickens with it. So we bought those 4-foot tall posts. He's going to put them in the ground and ratchet it down. Same with the dogs. I've seen where people say take those kiddie pools, put some sod in it or some kitty litter in it, and during the storm, a dog or a cat could use that. I've done that with puppies. I've not done it with big dogs, but I'm thinking if they're desperate enough, they probably would use that just fine. So as much as I would like to stay here in the AC, I think I'm going to go out and battle the heat and continue on working in our yard and getting everything hurricane ready. I hope this video helped to just give you some practical ideas that you can use, that you don't have to go out and spend a ton of extra money on. Check Craigslist, check Swip Swap, whatever town you're in, check Marketplace, check yard sales. You would be surprised at what people get rid of and give away for free or sell, and you can acquire it, and if you never need it, great, but if you do need it, you'll be grateful to have it. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, found it useful. If you have any comments, please leave them down below, and if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. All right, stay safe, everybody. Have a great day.